And now, the For Pete's Sake podcast, hosted by Rob Blackman and Joey Mulinaro.
And indeed, welcome everyone to the For Pete's Sake podcast, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics. It is time for episode number 3. I'm Rob Blackman. The other voice you're about to hear is that of Joey Mulinaro, and we thank you for joining us as we talk all things Boilermaker athletics. Joey, we have to start with the most important news of all from our athletic department. Our executive producer, Patrick Crawford, he and his wife, Alyssa, brand new parents this weekend.
Yeah, big congrats. Round of applause there.
How awesome
Baby
is it?
boy.
Yep. Colin Avery Crawford. We are told both Alyssa and Colin are doing great. Can't speak for Patrick. He's probably a little frazzled. First-time dad.
We've been there. You and I have both been
Yes,
there.
we
Do you have any advice for him?
Well, did you see the note when he texted you and I on Sunday to let us know that they had the new addition to their family? The text I sent him back, I said, babies are so much fun. Teenagers, however, not so much.
See, I am in the baby phase of my parenthood, so I would probably disagree with that at the moment, but I have yet to enter to the teenage phase. So at the end of the day, it's just a commitment of life that you're tied to, and it's a blessing for sure, but congrats to Patrick and Alyssa.
Let you and I talk in about 13 or 14 years.
Yes.
I'll be interested to get
Sounds
your take
like a
on
date.
that.
Yep.
Hey, great weekend here on the Purdue campus. Yes, it stinks that we lost our first football game in the season, losing to USC 33-17. However, it still was a fun Saturday. Rose Bowl team was honored. Gary Danielson was honored. It was a great day to be a Boilermaker.
It absolutely was. It looked great, and the weather delay. Obviously, we'll get into that with yourself, with Coach Odom. We're going to be talking to Barry Odom, of course. But still, the turnout that was after almost 3.5 hours of a delay, I thought was really, really impressive. And it still seemed like a raucous environment and an awesome crowd for what was really an entertaining game despite the loss.
We will speak with Coach Barry Odom here in just a bit. He'll join us for our Central Indiana Ford Dealers big interview segment. Also coming up before our program is done today, we visit with head volleyball coach Dave Shondell. He certainly deserves to be a guest on the program this particular episode because look at the weekend they had in Lexington, beating Houston, and then on Sunday, also in Lexington, they beat the 10th ranked team in the country, SMU, 3-1. Don't look now, but our Boilermakers are in the top 15 and they've only lost one match all season long.
Yeah, their second top 15 win of the season. So Coach Shondell's got them rolling. Very, very exciting times there. And it's been wild that it seems like they've been on these road environments, these not true road environments, not true home environments. But really, really impressive showing. Can't wait to talk to him. It's going to be my first time talking to Coach Shondell.
It will be fun, we promise. So to come in today's episode, Coach Barry Odom, Coach Dave Shondell, and the segment, I should say, of the show that you always look the most forward to, the Liftoff segment, brought to you by Lafayette Limo. It is coming up next. This is our For Pete's Sake podcast, and it is the official podcast of Purdue Athletics. This is For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics. Rob Blackman, Joey Mulinaro, and time now for our Lafayette Limo Liftoff segment. Lafayette Limo, family-owned, women-owned, serving Greater Lafayette for over 38 years. Shuttles to and from Indianapolis and O'Hare airports, 365 days a year. Make your reservations now at LafayetteLimo.com. Lafayette Limo, proud sponsor of Purdue Athletics. Joseph, we must start with that outstanding crowd we had Saturday night at Ross-Age Stadium that had to wait through a 3-hour and 5-minute rain delay, yet still showed up ready to root on the Boilermakers.
They sure did. I had multiple buddies in the crowd who were texting me, hey, we're waiting underneath, or, we're down in the bowels here, we're waiting this out. What did you do during it?
So on the radio network side, we replayed the previous week's game, the win over SIU. That was how we killed the time.
You played the entirety of it. Right?
Almost.
Yeah.
We got to about 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and then we had to bail out of it to get ready for the actual game that was happening Saturday. But, yeah, that's how we handled it.
You think there's any people out there that were tuning in, maybe just a little confused or saying, wait a second, what the hell? They cut it off 5 minutes to go, maybe a little bit confused about who's playing, what week
I thought
and
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. People are like, boy, I thought the game was in a rain delay, but they're playing.
Right, yeah.
So that was, that's how we handled it. So,
well, I know you the station handled it that way, but what did you do?
Oh, yeah, not a lot. Kind of just sat around, twiddled my thumbs, watched some other college football games.
Yeah.
We do have a television there in the broadcast booth, so we were able to watch some other games. I did USC, they travel both a Spanish-speaking radio crew and then English-speaking, obviously. And so I was asked if I wanted to go on the Spanish-speaking broadcast. I'm like, well, there's only one problem. I don't speak Spanish. So that would have been a bit of a concern. So I didn't actually get that opportunity.
Were you a German guy in high school?
I did take German
French?
in high school. German, yes.
You look like a German guy in high school.
I really do.
Yeah. You like beer? You maybe like a little sauerkraut?
I do like both, actually.
Yeah.
My grades were terrible in German, by the way, both college and high school. We'll visit that another day.
Yep.
Hey, 25th anniversary of the Rose Bowl team.
Very
Drew
cool.
Brees and his teammates were back in the building.
Yep.
That was so awesome to see on Saturday.
It really was. And anytime that you can honor a legendary team like that, bring them back, and especially like you mentioned, Drew Brees, like waiting, even him, big time Drew Brees, waiting through the weather delay and everything to be able to come out in the field and get honored. And what a special team that was and still is, obviously, for Purdue. So, it was, you had that, and you had Gary Danielson back.
Yeah.
This was an insane evening for Purdue.
So cool to see Gary Danielson at halftime, Purdue honoring him. I think they showed that on television. I'm certain they did, actually. Drew Brees was down there to give him the framed jersey, the Gary Danielson framed jersey. Mark Herman, another Purdue football legend, All-American quarterback, was part of that cradle of quarterbacks.
The cradle, yeah.
So I'm glad you brought up Gary Danielson.
Yeah,
I looked up some interesting nuggets on him.
I've heard they're mind-blowing, not just interesting.
Mind will be blown.
Mind-blowing.
So I will ask you this question. Gary, who played here from 69 to 72, he actually led the Big Ten in touchdown passes in 1971. Gary Danielson led all of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Touchdown passes, 1971. What do you think that number was? How many touchdown passes?
I'm going to say 6.
Wow, you went really low. It was actually 10.
Well, not too far off.
You went 6? Think about
1971. They were throwing the ball, 7 times a game?
Yeah, 3 yards in a cloud of dust back then. Compare that to today's modern college football quarterback. You get 10 touchdown passes in like 2 games with some of these guys.
Yeah, Ryan Brown's already there.
It's
insane, yeah.
Here's what else I found out about Gary Danielson that was mind-blowing. He was not drafted into the National Football League. Despite being a really good quarterback here at Purdue, he had to actually start in the Canadian Football League. Wasn't even drafted. Yet he spends 13 seasons in the NFL. Still one of the all-time greats for the Detroit Lions, if you look statistically. But here's the one. Gary Danielson did not start playing quarterback until his senior year of high school. He had been a wide receiver up until then. How mind-blowing is that?
Quite mind-blowing. Do we have any insight on why the switch, how it happened?
I do not know the switch, why it happened.
Well, I feel like you'll hear about that sometimes, and it's kind of, maybe it was a coach's thing. Maybe the coach's kid was playing quarterback in front of him, and then he finally graduated, or he just sucked so bad that they finally kicked him out, and they said, give me this Danielson guy, come in here and sling it. I know that with me being a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan, Big Ben Roethlisberger, that was the case for him. He didn't play quarterback till his senior year in high school either.
Really?
So I feel like you hear sometimes some of this, like they're a really good athlete, and maybe they just don't quite know it, and then all of a sudden in high school they say, why don't we put our best athlete, give him the ball on every single play, have it to be in his hands. Yeah. Maybe that was the case.
Pretty cool.
What a career.
Well, yeah, 13 years in the NFL. And the fact that he played most of it with the Lions because he's originally from the Detroit area. Yeah. That's kind of perfect for him.
I'm gonna miss him a lot in the booth.
Well, that's probably one thing we should talk about, how good of a broadcaster he is when it comes to college football.
And it's just he's become a part of the soundtrack and the fabric of Saturdays.
Yes, right.
You know, I mean, especially now coming over with the last couple of years, the Big Ten, and him getting to do Purdue games, which is very cool because he's been down with the SEC for so long.
Yep, right.
But still, I mean, you go with Vern and Gary, and then, you know, now Brad and Gary. Yep. And, gosh, that is just an end of an era for sure. Gosh, we got Coach Corso going. We got Gary Danielson going. This is just a very, very bummer of a time for college football and broadcast, honestly.
All the great broadcasters stepping
Still
aside.
got Rob Blackman, though.
Well, I won't be stepping aside anytime soon.
There we go.
Having 2 kids in college, I can't afford to step aside anytime soon. Other notes and nuggets from since the last time we have spoken. Purdue Volleyball is off to a red-hot start, 7-1. They were in Lexington this past weekend, beat Houston on Saturday, and then turned around and beat SMU, who's ranked 10th in the country on Saturday. Dave Shondell will visit with us a little bit later in the program to talk about that, so we'll save all of our questions in hyperbole for Coach Shondell when he is with us. But I did want to mention men's and women's basketball starting their official practices September 22nd. That's coming up very quickly, so they'll both begin practice officially to get ready for the season. Women's soccer team, how about knocked off 23rd ranked Wisconsin in the first Big Ten game of the year last week?
Huge. Always great to beat Wisconsin.
2-1, the final score. Boilermakers, only 3 shots on goal for our Boilermakers, but they made two of them. That's all that matters, right?
That's right.
Who cares how many you have? Just make them one.
Yeah.
Number 11, Iowa. And that's number 11 in the country, Iowa, in the Big Ten home opener Thursday. So coming up this Thursday, 7 o'clock. If you can get to Folk Field Thursday night, fans, 11th ranked Iowa in town for the second Big Ten game of the year and the Big Ten home opener. You know how last time, Joey, we were on here and we were speaking about Will Harvey, the freshman, Purdue men's golf, shot a 64 in that tournament up in Michigan.
Sure
we were raving about how awesome that was, second lowest score ever for a Purdue freshman. I have to apologize because I should have looked more in depth to that weekend. Because what I didn't know at the time, but I do know now, is Andre Zhu, who's also a freshman, redshirt freshman from Ontario. He actually, over the 3-day event, 54 holes, recorded the 3rd lowest score in Purdue history over 3 days of golf. So we had a freshman shoot a 64, a redshirt freshman go low for 3 straight days. Zhu's named the Big Ten Golfer of the Week. Purdue as a team in that tournament, speaking of mind blown, 54 holes of golf as a team, we finished 49 under. 49 under par.
Yeah.
As a team.
I think you could just, like, if you said, hey, here's 6 holes, Joey. You got 6 holes. I still don't think that I could, be able to go 49 under.
Could you go 6 holes without a double bogey on any of the 6?
No. I couldn't go 1.
Our team in that tournament in Michigan, season opening tournament now, played the entire tournament, 54 holes of golf, and not a single player had a double bogey the entire 3 days. Not a single player had a double bogey.
That's really incredible, and I'm very happy for them. But I have a golf outing next week that I have to play, and now these kids are just going to be hanging in my head about how miserable I am. So, obviously, wearing my Purdue cap, that's incredible. Very happy. When I'm putting on my golf cap, not so much.
That is incredible. Head coach Andrew Sapp. Last year they played in the NCAA National Tournament at the end of the summer. It feels like they're going to be there again and probably going to be there often over the next few years. Cross-country team, the men's cross-country team last Friday in East Lansing, the event they call the Big Ten Preview. I want to give a shout-out to Douglas Buckeridge. He finished 4th individually, and that is a huge meet, by the way. Ton of guys running in that one. He finished 4th overall. That's pretty salty. And I know you love baseball. This week, Purdue baseball officially started its fall practice schedule. So fall ball is underway for Greg Goff and the baseball Boilermakers. So
I always hated fall ball when I was growing up because it meant I had to miss football.
Oh, yeah.
My dad would drag me out on Sunday mornings. He'd be like, come on, we got to go play fall ball. You're on the orange team. I was like, dude, we got kickoff at 1. What are you talking about?
You were on the orange team.
Yeah, because they did fall colors. They had like brown, green, orange, yellow.
Understood.
That kind of thing. Hey, let's get to Ross on Saturday night, though, from the game against USC. Wanted to get your thoughts, little extensive thoughts on just what you saw once the weather delay was done, but product on field. Rob Blackman's thoughts.
Yeah, well, really encouraged, and of course, Coach Odom's going to join us in our next segment, and obviously his thoughts are the only ones that count on this deal. But, just really encouraged with how competitive our team was. especially when you felt like it might get a little ugly when it got to be 30-10. And you're like, boy, we've unfortunately we've seen this movie before the last couple of seasons.
Yep.
Was going to be fight or flight, and our team chose to fight. I mean, you think about the fact we take the ball offensively, move right down the field after that, score a touchdown to make it 30-17, and then had the ball again in the red zone. Now an interception thrown at the 2-yard line, but right, if ifs and buts, but Purdue scores a touchdown there. All of a sudden, you're looking at 30-24. Still a ton of time left in the fourth quarter. USC, one would think, might get just a little bit on edge, right? Knowing that Purdue had closed the gap. So, yeah, just really loved the fight from our team. And really on both sides of the football. You look at that was a USC team that came in averaging 60-plus points a game.
Yep.
And they scored 33, and 7 of those are on a pick six. So, only 26 of those get credited to the defense. So that's in a lot of field goals for USC. I was also encouraged about that. USC was able to drive the ball between the 20s, but when it came time for Purdue defensively to really bow its back and come up with a stop and force them into field goals, Purdue was able to do that. So, look, I get it. A loss is a loss, and I can't wait to get Coach Odom's thoughts on this. But as a fan watching, especially from the broadcast booth, just really encouraged about both offensively and defensively, how Purdue has been as good as they have been, and they were on Saturday night. I would also say this, Purdue special teams, which was a bit of a hiccup last year for the Boilermakers at times, haven't yet missed a field goal opportunity, haven't yet missed an extra point, and our punter is averaging better than 50 yards a punt. And I believe the average starting position for the opponent off of Purdue punts this year is like the 8-yard line. So not only is he kicking it a long way, he's pinning them deep in their own territory. So a long-winded answer to your very short question. I was really encouraged by what I saw.
Yep, same. I mean, didn't allow a touchdown in the second half. Obviously, the pick six defensively didn't allow a touchdown in the second half,
right?
Which is very, very encouraging for a team that has, you think of USC and they have skill players, always going to have skill players, always going to have athletes. They're in the top 25 this week. They're a top 25 team.
Good team.
And I think, to your point as well, it just felt like we belonged out there.
Yep.
It felt like
good point.
It felt like Purdue's athletes on the outside. It felt like Ryan Brown. Yes, you had 2 crucial, really 3, but I mean the ones inside the red area, right? When you're at the 3-yard line, goal to go. When you're inside the red zone, obviously crushing as well. But it still looked like he belonged. It just felt different, as you mentioned, than it has, and I thought that was really, really exciting and really made me pumped up for Saturday against Notre Dame, and then a bye week before we come back to Ross-Ade.
Fact is, Ryan still threw for 305 yards. Yes, he had a couple throws he'd like to have back,
and a couple drops that played a key factor that would have swung things the other way, not only for Ryan but on the scoreboard too.
And I think statistically, when you look at it, you'll see Purdue had only 52 yards rushing in the game, which is not a great number. But remember, fans, in college football, every time the quarterback is sacked, that counts against the team's rushing yardage. And Purdue did give up 5 sacks in that game. So a lot for us to talk about with Coach Barry Odom, and how appropriate for a segue, I should say, into our next segment. And we'll visit with the coach when he comes and joins us here on For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics. The big interview segment, brought to you by your Central Indiana Ford dealers, is coming up next. Welcome back, everyone. This is For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics. Time now for the big interview segment. It's brought to you by your Central Indiana Ford dealers. They are proud sponsors of Purdue Athletics. Visit your local Central Indiana Ford dealer today. Head coach Barry Odom has joined us here on the podcast. Coach Odom, we were kind of hoping every time we were going to have you on this year, it was always talking after a victory. Didn't quite happen for us, though, on Saturday. That USC lost 33-17. To start with, your just overall take from that ball game.
Well, if you planned on that, you mapped it out wrong. So I'll try to do better. I'll look and match it up. We're after a win. I thought, number one, our team competed. They really, I thought, brought a great week of preparation. I wasn't worried about that going into the game. We captured some momentum but couldn't keep it on our side. You get down in the red zone and We turned it over 3 times in the red zone. It's hard to win against anybody when you do that. We gave up too many explosive plays on the defensive side in a couple situations. But a team that going into that game, I thought defensively, you really look at, we gave up 2 touchdowns and 4 field goals. If we can hold them to field goals in those situations, we're going to have a chance to win. And then offensively, we obviously self-inflicted some things. You know, you get down, and if we just come away with field goals in those situations rather than turning the ball over, I think it's a different game. Sure. So close, but close doesn't count, right? We've got to find a way to get back in that moment and then go execute. We've got to be better, from head coach down in putting them in positions to be successful. Then also we've got to go execute. We can't turn the ball over. And then if we do turn it over defensively and special teams, we've got to find a way to go get it back. And so it's kind of a recipe for being in the game, but never really being able to capture it.
Sure.
Can you take any I know there no moral victories and everything, but the fact of how they responded, how they battled throughout after being down big, the weather delay, kind of a measuring stick game for where this team and program is right now?
I really, after the first couple of weeks, and I didn't really know where we were, honestly. Because there were good things. There were some things like, man, we got to really clean that up. I look at USC. I think they got terrific talent. I really do at a lot of spots. So I know a lot more about our guys right now, and I think we're really close to being a pretty good football team. Now, we have to go win those close games because they're all going to be close. Yeah. Everybody we play from here on out is going to be talented, and I think we are too. But we've got to find ways. Again, you're in that moment. You've got to go capture it, and then we've got to keep it on our side. We got to the point where it was almost a one-score game, and we turn it over. I think we could have got that point there in that situation. Then I think it got a little dicey on the other sideline. I think they could have, could have really caused them a lot of fun in the fourth quarter. For
sure. Ryan Brown, 305 yards passing. Yes, the 3 interceptions, probably one of those, the pick 6, not necessarily his fault. But again, this is just from the broadcast booth, I feel like I'm really seeing his progression as a quarterback. And for our fans, make sure you remember this is only his 5th start ever for Ryan Brown in a college football game. Am I seeing it correctly? Is he really starting to take some major steps forward?
I would agree. Great assessment. And you look at, I just met with Ryan 30 minutes ago on a number of things, and the progress he continues to make every single day in practice, the things he's able to do, but then the information that he is seeing and the decisions he's making, he's able to communicate that, and that is so valuable as a coaching staff. Throughout the week, Coach Henshaw and Coach Henson get with them, multiple times a week, but towards the end of the week, they say, okay, what do you really like in the game plan? Okay, what do you don't feel great about? What do we need more reps with? And he has the ability to tell them yes, no, and the reasons why. That's really good for 5 games in. And I think we're just seeing him scratch the surface. I think he can be an elite talent. And I'm not trying to build it up more than it needs to be 5 games in for him. But he's got terrific arm talent. We've got some weapons around him. He's making great decisions, and his football IQ is really off the charts. Yeah.
Have you ever, as a coach, had more of a, oh, no, yes play than the first touchdown that the Boiler that you were able to score on Saturday against USC with that double pass and the
it looked so great in practice. It was either going to be there or completely not there. And then the other night when the linebacker 18 just kind of read it and diagnosed it. Yeah. I didn't want Mike to throw it back, and then he threw it. The same thing you're saying. I had a few expletives in there. But then also, Ryan, what a heads-up play. Right. It was loose, and then I had a pretty good angle, and then upstairs they were saying, it was a lateral the entire time of the review. So I felt good about that part of it. He made a really good play on actually becoming a defensive back, knocking the ball down, where it could continue to extend into a touchdown.
I also shared some of those expletives in my living room when I was watching. Yeah. So,
Boilermakers, you mentioned defensively, too many chunk plays given up. I would also flip that and say offensively, the 10 tackles for loss, the 5 sacks that were allowed, those also were momentum killers, weren't they?
Well, you look at, we always talk about the ability to run the ball, and I thought there were moments the other night that we really did that. But then you take away 58 yards, I think is what we had in negative plays, in either tackle for loss or sacks, that you're never going to be consistent enough in running the ball. So we've got to eliminate those things. It's not just the offensive line. That's the easy answer, right? Sure. It's the tight ends in protection, the running backs, the receivers, and the timing and decision-making. There's so many things that go into it. But when we can get those things cleaned up, we're going to be, I think, have an opportunity to be a high-level offense.
So would you say those things are more schematically things that can be fixed rather than physical?
Yeah, I think the balance of that, you look at play call, you look at execution, you look at maybe mental errors on that. There are some physical mismatches that we lost the other night. That's going to happen in this conference at times. You don't want many of them. And then when you are in that situation, you've got to do some things to help with the tight end chipping with the offensive tackle or the running back. There's ways to get around that. You can move the pocket, and we'll continue to put our guys in position to be successful.
You were telling us after the first 2 games of the season defensively, you kept it pretty vanilla. Maybe weren't your exact words, but pretty basic. And then I saw Saturday night got really a lot more exotic defensively, Coach Scheer, with maybe it's a different blitz packages or different twists and stunts, changing the coverages. From a Purdue fan standpoint, is that probably the Purdue defense we're going to see going forward now, being that much more aggressive defensively?
I think we need to be really good on early downs. So, everybody talks about third down defense, and that's great. We can be a good third down defense, but we need to be third and long. And the only way you get there is you're good on first and second down. So I thought they did a nice job building the defense of the week last week. There's going to be a mix every single week on what we feel like personnel we need on the field. We've repped all these things through spring practice and fall camp. And I thought they did a nice job on changing pre-snap some of the reads the quarterback was getting to what it ended up being. Our blitz tracks, we need to continue to work some of those because we have to be able to formulate pressure from the second and third levels. We're just not good enough, to rush 3 and win a one-on-one consistently. And we've got the ability to do that some, but we've got to be really good and rep them enough that we have confidence to go run them with speed.
Last thing from endgame against USC that I wanted to ask you about. There's just the Purdue fan sitting on the couch yelling at the TV. I was curious. In the first half, I think you had him to 3rd and 12, fairly deep in your territory. 2 timeouts left, 54 seconds.
Yep.
Didn't use a timeout.
Right.
Why?
I was hoping to save that I was hoping to get a stop there on 3rd down and then use it at that point. They got the first down. I was trying to save timeouts for the offense. Looking back, clock management, wish I would have used it right after 2nd down. Then you get to the point there, try to force them into a punt situation. I would have used it again because we would have come after it with a block or try to design that. So there's a lot of communication going on. I made the call, let's hold them, let's try to get the ball back, and then we would have 2 for our offense.
My final thought on that USC game, and as I told you last time we visited, I'll try to ask you this after every game. Hard, smart, tough. Did you feel like you checked those 3 boxes on Saturday against USC?
We made progress. I think we really did. And again, as I said early on, I thought our team brought it. From preparation, they were excited to play. I thought there was energy. I didn't question were we playing hard. Now we've got to continue to do that every single play, every single possession in all 3 phases. We're making progress. We're not there yet, but we're going to continue to work. We'll get there.
First road game coming up Saturday in South Bend. How do you prepare for a first road experience with this team? A lot of new faces, it being in a legendary, historic venue like Notre Dame.
We're excited to get there. It'll be fun. I wouldn't trade playing at Ross-Ade for anything, but there's always something about going on the road. It's kind of us against them. And we'll do everything preparation-wise, so it's so close. So we do everything all the way up until Friday when we would normally leave for the hotel here. We're going to bus right up, so we'll do all of our prep work on Friday here, get in and go, and then it's kind of a normal routine Friday and Saturday for us. But excited to see how we respond on the road, and I know our guys are excited about going and playing against a great opponent.
A win on Saturday would give Purdue an undefeated non-conference record for the first time since 2007. And we are hopeful that that's going to happen this coming Saturday in South Bend. Thank you, Coach Odom.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate
Have a great
you.
week.
We're going to talk to Coach Dave Shondell when we come back. Purdue Volleyball is off to a red-hot start. That might be putting it lightly. We'll talk to Coach Shondell about that next. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. For Pete's Sake podcast continues. Rob Blackman, Joey Mulinaro, and as we promised, going to our last short timeout, let us welcome in head volleyball coach Dave Shondell. If he seems to be smiling a lot during this segment, he should be. A huge win for the Boilermakers this past Sunday in Lexington over the 10th-ranked team in the country, SMU. As Joey mentioned earlier in the program, that's now two top 15 victories for the Boilermakers this year, and we haven't even gotten into conference play yet. Yeah. Speaking of being ranked in the top 15, that's also where Purdue Volleyball finds itself. Coach Shondell, welcome, and heck of a start for your team this season. Congratulations.
Well, thanks. It's an honor to be on this show. My goodness, this thing's blowing up all over the country, probably the entire world for that matter now with that with getting the stars on here. But no, it was a great win. To beat SMU was something I really wasn't anticipating when the season started. They're loaded with talent. They've got transfers, a lot of top 5 recruits in the country on that team. And Gene Katie used to say it's not who you play, it's when you play.
Yeah.
I think we got them at a good time. Our team's playing pretty well right now. But, I think that we snuck up on them and then just put a great match together.
How have you been able to, you've been playing a lot of games on the road, a lot of matches on the road, and how have you been able to prepare your team to be able to be so successful and prepared away from Purdue?
Well, it's just being emotionally ready to play every match. And the one match we lost against Georgia Tech, that was a home match, our first home match of the season, which we're normally pretty good at. But we'd come off of a huge win at Tennessee at what's the big venue we played in down there?
Bridgestone Arena.
Bridgestone Arena. And we played great. And then 4 days later, we're playing Georgia Tech, and we came out flat. And so I thought that was a great learning lesson for us from that standpoint. And my job as the head coach and the rest of our staff and our leadership on our team is to make sure we're ready to play when we step on the floor. And now we have another turnaround after having a big win against SMU. We traveled to Worthen Arena in beautiful Muncie, Indiana, and we're going to play the Ball State Cardinals, who beat Marquette this weekend, who is a top 25 team. So we'll see how well we've matured as a team. This is a team that's full of young players, 5 freshmen, 5 transfers that have come in with 8 carryovers from a year ago. But I'm so proud of what they're doing. The maturity that they have shown this season has been something I've been really proud of.
So I want to start right there, or continue this conversation right there. You had one returnee as far as starters or regulars from last year's team in Taylor Anderson. And look, she was all Big Ten, so not a bad place to start when you're having one returnee. At least she was all conference. But 7-1 start with a young team with a whole bunch of new faces. Did you anticipate getting off to this kind of a start?
I hoped that we would get off to this kind of a start, but I would have not expected it, no. We've played some good teams.
Yeah.
We really have, but we schedule probably tougher. When you put that schedule together, you don't know you're going to have 4 kids transfer out.
Right.
Or key people on your team. But luckily we hit at a high percentage on the portal ourselves and got some really good players. And we're playing with great purpose. I always believe that teams that have great seasons and have success, they're playing with more than just they want to play volleyball. There's something inside that's driving them. And this team is grown together. They know that people doubted them. These people that came back and even the transfers that came in, they knew all the talk. And so I think that they're using that as kind of a driving force to be ready to play every day, to come in and practice hard every day and get better and try to continue the legacy that is Purdue volleyball.
I think so many people, when they think of the transfer portal, NIL, things like that in the college level now, obviously they go to football, basketball. How has it affected volleyball, and what has that experience been like for you leading this program, having to deal with the portal and things of that nature?
Yeah, it's a little bit newer for us, but it's hit full stride.
Yeah.
Certainly in our situation, it did when you lose, 2 all-conference type players that you kind of built your team around, and they walk out the door, then you've got to get busy in a hurry. But the good news is that I think the reputation of our program and the academics of this university, they recruit great female athletes. And so as I've told Rob before, we made 5 phone calls and we got 5 players on the portal. And people that I thought were going to be great fits for us, and they have been great fits for us. But it's something that we're going to deal with till the end of time. I just was talking with our sport administrator, Calvin Williams, and he's looking down the road at different things. And I said, Calvin, people are going to come and people are going to go. That's the world we're living in. And Matt Painter, who's a good friend of mine and the best college basketball coach I think that there is, he hasn't had a lot of issues with that. But he's going to, because it's just the way it's going to be. And you can be as kind of a person and be as much of a team-oriented coach as you can be, but when that portal opens up, somebody's going to be on it.
Right.
And so you got to be prepared for that, and you almost have to have a coach out there looking to see who likely is going to show up on the portal from other schools, who's going to be available,
Sure.
What are we going to need, and that's fortunately at Purdue, our athletic department has given us the resources to play the portal, to be able to use the revenue sharing money, and I think we're in a good position to do that, and so therefore I think the future maintains bright here at Purdue.
Obviously the transfers have helped, but Kenna Woolard coming back, she she wasn't a starter last year, but she certainly played a lot for you. Big Ten Player of the Week last week. What has she meant to this team?
Well, Ken is kind of a 5-tool player, to take that out of the baseball terminology, since we got a guy wearing a baseball. Oh, that's not maybe a basketball
jersey.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. It's a nice look, Joey.
Thank
sure.
you. Yeah.
But she does everything on our team. Okay. She's an offensive player, so she's an outside attacker. She swings. She blocks. She serves. She plays defense. She passes. She's doing everything for us. And she hasn't done that until this year. She was on the right side a year ago. Her story is unique from the standpoint. We recruited her before Hudson and Chacoin committed to Purdue. Okay,
Gotcha,
they had committed elsewhere before. So Kenna Woolard's coming here thinking she's going to be a left side player. Okay, well, it didn't work out that way. So she goes on the right side, has to kind of learn how to play a new position, and then those two walk out the door. And so now she's back on the left, where she's a lot more comfortable.
Sure.
But she hasn't played a bunch there. But it just shows what kind of player she was. She came in here for 2 years. She went to the right side and did her thing and learned that position. It's kind of like being a shooting guard. Now you're going to be a point guard. It's a little bit different game. All right. So I really appreciate what she's done. She's a great. The epitome, I think, of who we want to be at Purdue. Just whatever the role is, take it on and do the best you can do. And now she's living her dream. Now she's getting to be on the floor all the time and making lots of plays. And people are starting to focus on her. So like this past weekend, her numbers were not quite as good because people are paying a lot of attention. You come off of a week where you're the Big Ten Player of the Week, people are going to start paying attention to you. So she's got to continue to get better and believe in herself. But she's been great for us.
Do you and Coach Painter share aspects of, in terms of building a culture? You've both been here over 20 years now, how to build a culture, especially in these times, going back to that transfer portal era that we're in. And because you just mentioned, somebody who isn't playing their position and for 2 years, and then you would think that maybe they're going to walk out the door and they don't. Do you guys share any kind of philosophies that help build a culture in a program?
Other than Muncie, Indiana.
Yeah, I was going to say, you cut from the same cloth a little bit.
Yeah, no, Matt's a good friend, and I enjoy just listening to him. I don't think he pays a lot of attention to me, but I really enjoy hearing what he has to say. Matt also has a place out on Lake Freeman, and so during the summer times, if he's not at Wrigley, we get a chance sometimes to talk a little bit more than during the heat of the season, because in the fall I'm a little bit busy, and in the winter he's relatively busy. But I get down to his office a lot, and I try to watch at least one practice a week of Purdue basketball, because I think he's fantastic. I think his staff's fantastic. The culture that he has is remarkable, and how much fun that's going to be this season to watch Purdue basketball. And I know there's a lot of heat on them to have great success, but I think they will because of what he's created. But yeah, we talk a lot, and I listen a lot.
Are you a Wrigley guy?
I love the Cubs.
Good. Yeah. Nice. Me too.
Cubs fan, but I was going to say a Bud man, but I'm really not a Bud man.
We got to watch it.
Yeah.
We got sponsors and stuff on this program. We don't want to.
They're probably lining at the door right now trying to get sponsorship for this situation.
Before you get Coach out of here, can we do Harry's hot seat with him?
Well, we should probably ask Coach Shondell if we can do Harry's hot
Well, I don't
seat.
know what Harry's hot seat is, but I'm game for anything right now. It's
Well,
been
you
that
may
kind of a week.
regret
No.
to do this, but
Right.
Not
Yes,
going to
you
regret
may.
it. It's a little segment that we did. We just started it last week. So
Okay.
the second one, we did Ryan Brown last week.
Okay.
This is Harry's Hot Seat with Coach Dave Shondell. And we'll start, and this is supposed to be just kind of first thing that comes to mind with these questions.
Okay.
Right? Quick.
I'll do my best.
Here we go. Harry's Hot Seat. Best restaurant at Purdue.
The Bryant.
Hidden gym at Purdue.
Holloway Gym.
Works on multiple levels.
Yes.
There, right? If the family business for the Shondells wasn't volleyball, what would it be?
Fishing.
I've seen your Instagram. You got some pretty impressive catches on there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. As good as he would have, or as good as he is at basketball, would Zach Edey have been the best volleyball player ever? 7'4"?
I like Zach, and we had him in our gym hitting some balls one time, but I think he'd have a lot of work to do.
Okay.
Mobility. Lateral mobility.
What position in volleyball would Purdue Pete play?
Purdue Pete might be what we call the libero position, where you play with a lot of heart and a lot of toughness.
Yeah, he's not the tallest guy. All right, liberos are
It doesn't
typically
seem
not
like
the.
he jumps real well. It depends on which Purdue Pete you're looking at from time to time.
Okay. Go-to song on the lake.
No answer.
Okay. Does
That'd be Zach Bryan.
Zach Bryan? All right. Does bringing 2 liters of soda suffice if you've invited a guest to your lake house? If I showed up with 2 liters of soda,
No.
no.
Not going to work.
Okay. Is that
how cheap can you be?
Well, I just thought it's like
2
Costanza.
liters.
It's like you got 2 liters. You show up with a Diet Pepsi
No, first
and
of
a
all,
Pepsi.
you can come with nothing at my place. It's open door policy.
So can I come to your
Yes.
lake? Okay, perfect. On your Instagram, you called Braden Smith the Drew Brees on hardwood. Who's the Braden Smith on the volleyball court
Well,
for you?
yeah, on our team, I would probably say Ryan McAleer, who's our libero, hard-nosed kid, tough kid, thinks she's a lot better than maybe she really is, which is what you need in that position. But, yeah, you got that. That was a long when did I put that text out? Or that
I did my research last
Yeah,
night, Coach.
you must have.
I went that, but I think it was like 2023 or so. Okay,
Yeah.
last one for you.
Yeah.
Better golfer. Do you golf?
Yeah.
You were Coach Painter.
Payne doesn't play golf.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He doesn't play golf?
No, Coach Painter doesn't play golf.
I'll take my chances.
Well, I didn't
Coach
do my
Painter on the
research
golf
then.
course. That's
We're
all
going
right.
to cut that out,
Yeah.
Corey, because I see him at enough golf outings that I'm
Yeah,
like, he's playing,
out.
but he's not.
He's normally talking to people when he's out.
Okay, so we'll take you then, but we're going to cut that. That was Harry's hot seat. So thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Coach Shondell, 2 pre-Big Ten games remaining on the schedule. They are coming this weekend. The first one, you will be off and playing in Muncie, and then IU Indy, right, on Sunday?
yes.
And then the Big Ten schedule begins.
And that's with Mackey matches. And so we need to get that word out that we've got, I think, Washington on a Thursday to open Big Ten play, and then the Illini come in that weekend. But both those matches are in Mackey. Last year, as you know,
Yeah.
Rob, we sold out both
was
matches
awesome.
in Mackey, and it was an incredible environment. And I think this year the tickets sold a little slower because people weren't sure what this team was going to be like. And I'd like to think that now they know that this is a team that they can be proud of, and we're going to need all the help we can get. We're going to be in, we've got 22 more matches to
Right.
play. I'll guarantee you 20 of those are going to be close, hotly contested matches. And how well we play and how well our fans show up to help us will have a lot to do with the success that this team's going to have.
We will see you in Holloway Gymnasium and Mackey Arena. Thank you, Coach Shondell.
And that short trip over to Muncie
On Friday.
On Friday night for a 6 p.m. first serve.
The Shondell Invitational. They might be calling that one. Coach Shondell, thanks, man. Good luck
Thanks,
this year.
guys.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it,
it.
One more segment to go here on For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics. Stay with us. Final segment of For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics. Big thank you goes out to Coach Barry Odom joining us earlier today on the program, and big thank you to Coach Dave Shondell as well. I have to follow up. Coach Shondell was just talking to us about fishing, living on Lake Freeman, which is just north of West Lafayette. He mentioned he and Coach Painter both have lake houses up there on Lake Freeman. Did you know, Joey, my brother, who's 5 years younger but looks identical to me, he's a conservation officer who spends most of his time up in that area patrolling the Lake Freeman area.
So he's looking out for Coach Painter and Coach Shondell.
Yeah, looking out to make. Well, hopefully Coach Shondell has his fishing license. You know,
yeah.
that's a pretty hefty fine. You get caught fishing with no fishing license.
Makes sense.
Now he might say, "Hey, you know, I know your brother Rob Blackman," and that would probably get him 2 citations instead of 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to make sure that those coaches know that hey, ever get in a pinch up there on the lake, look for Ryan Blackman, conservation officer.
Does he have the same voice as Rob Blackman? He doesn't have the voice?
Actually, he and I, again, he's 5 years younger. We look so much alike, talk so much alike, that when I'm up in Monticello visiting family and friends where we're originally from, I will have a number of people say, "Hey, Officer Blackman, saw you out on the lake the other day." And I used to argue with them, you know, or correct them, but now I just roll with it. I'm like, yep, it was great seeing you.
Make sure you got that license. Don't get me on you.
That is, yeah. So just so you know, for my friends, too, that might be a part of this podcast that could end up on Lake Freeman sometime soon. All right, what did we learn today, Joey Mulinaro?
We learned that Purdue Volleyball is rolling. Red Hot won 10 of their last 11 sets.
Yeah.
I mean, they're sweeping teams. They've got 2 top 15 wins already. And some big things coming. And I think it was really interesting that Coach Shondell was talking about how a lot of people weren't really sure. It's a young team coming into this year, a lot of changes, and with this kind of start, it wasn't really exactly sure what fans were going to expect. But now I think with how they started off in 2025, 2026, you got to get out there, pack Mackey, pack Holloway, and show some support because they're playing incredibly well.
Also mentioned women's soccer, Big Ten home opener, Thursday night. 11th ranked Iowa coming to town. Fans, if you can get out to Folk Field, please do that. And those of you that can find your way to South Bend on Saturday for a 3:30 kickoff, we wouldn't mind seeing you there either. That's going to be a big one.
Yep, Purdue Notre Dame, historic rivalry, in-state rivalry, obviously, and hoping for another clean outing, hard, smart, tough outing for the Boiler football team, and let's make it happen. Let's put the Irish down 0-3.
If Coach Odom could beat the Irish, he would be just the 7th Purdue coach in Purdue history to beat Notre Dame in his first crack at them. First opportunity to beat them. Joe Tiller was the last one to do it. You remember Coach Tiller? We were coming off that loss to Toledo, and everyone's like, "Who's this Joe Tiller guy? We can't even beat Toledo." And then we beat Notre Dame in the next game. And the rest, as they say, is history. As we saw this past Saturday, history with our 25-year reunion for the Big Ten champion Rose Bowl qualifiers, Purdue Boilermakers. Joey, it's a lot of fun. Let's do it again in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely, Rob. Always look forward to it. And, yeah, that's right. September 29th is the next time we're going to get together. So that week after the bye week, heading into Illinois for the football team, and we'll have plenty of updates for you then.
A couple of thank yous going out. Executive producer Patrick Crawford. Again, he's a new dad. Enjoy Patrick always helping us out on the show. Although he couldn't be here today, that's understandable. He had a good excuse. Thanks to producer Corey Palm. Our director is Brad Summer. Will Cabral is one of the guys that helps behind the scenes, as does Brooke Weber and Rosie Schroeder. Thank you, everyone, for helping us make the Purdue official Purdue Athletics podcast, For Pete's Sake, a reality here in episode number 3. For Joey Mulinaro, I'm Rob Blackman. Have a great week, everyone, and maybe we'll see you up in South Bend this Saturday afternoon.
Boiler up.